Well, who knew the thing that would make me come back to this channel would be two gay hockey players and their situationship that would last over the course of like 10 years. Who would have thought? Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna cut to the chase. We have to get settled, okay? Because I'm about to be here for a while. Bless you, Mia. Let's just totally ignore the fact that I haven't done a show breakdown in like over a year. Let's just get that out of the way. Who cares? Heated rivalry? We need to talk about this. I've disrupted everyone's peace when it comes to this show. I've talked about it with friends. Hell, I've talked about it with family. I've talked about it with almost everyone that I know. Disrupted every group chat. And you know, I now need to talk about it with you guys, okay? Because I feel like we're all kind of in this weird fatigue of heated rivalry where now that it's over, we don't really know what to do with ourselves. Maybe I'm projecting, but I watched yesterday's episode 6, and now I don't know what to do except to just like talk about my feelings. And where else can I do that other than my YouTube channel? So hi, hello, I've missed you guys. What's up? We're gonna get started. We're just gonna get right into it because I don't know how to be normal about this show and I need to get out everything I've been feeling over the course of a month. You know, like who cares about Christmas? I'm sure we all just wanted to get to the cottage. Like that's how ridiculously obsessed with this show I think we all are as a collective. And when I say we, I mean everyone. I'm telling you, this show has brought so many communities together that I honestly think it's beautiful. And I'm not even trying to kid. I'm not even trying to joke. So I'm just gonna talk about everything. If you have not seen my show breakdowns, I talk about the characters, what they did throughout the show, my thoughts about what they did, and then at the end I talk about what I liked and disliked. If you don't know what heated rivalry is, I'm assuming you're living under a rock. Like, I'm assuming we're not on the same wavelength of like either chronically online or just TV shows that we watch, but basically it's what I explained in the intro. We are following two hockey players, Shane Hollander and Ilya Rozanov, two rivals from two competing hockey teams. They're in Major League Hockey and we're following their situationship from when they're rookies who just begin to like sleep with each other into them slowly following paths throughout their career and with that falling in love with each other. And it takes place over the span of like 10 years and it is one of the best things I think I've ever watched. And here's the thing, right? I know that this is a book to show adaptation. Hello. Yeah, no, I came prepared. I read the book. I'm in the process of reading all of the books. I know everyone's like, oh, the only ones worth reading are the 2nd and the 6th book because Shane and Ilya's stories, that's where it's at. I don't think you realize that my hyperfixation runs deeper than just like Ilya and Shane. I need to know everything about this world and the gay people in it. So I'm reading all the books right now. Let's get into the characters. I'm literally gonna go through this one by one. I'm sure this is very chaotic. I'm so sorry in advance for what you're about to see. But when I tell you I just need someone to project my energy and thoughts on when it comes to the show, I'm not joking. So strap in. We're in for a ride. We're in for a treat. First character, Svetlana. Baddie, queen, beautiful, gorgeous gowns. No, seriously, like all of her outfits, I want every single one of them. Ilya's childhood friend slash like fuck buddy, question mark. I'm not really sure what they would title their relationship as, but that's what I got from the show, okay? She is one of Ilya's long-time friends and really the only person besides Shane who he can confide in emotionally and be honest with about just everything going on in his life. And trust me, there's a lot going on in his life. And I think that she plays a good key role there when it comes to that. She did what needed to be done, honestly. I think that Ilya just has a lot of feelings inside that he can't let out, and it's nice when she's on the screen because I just know that in those moments he feels protected. It was always nice whenever Svetlana was in a scene. I know some people might not agree. A lot of people were iffy about Svetlana, like as soon as she popped up in the show. I could read the room immediately. Like even when she first got introduced with them like sleeping together, I had a feeling that this was not anything serious. You could tell that that's like his homegirl, his buddy, his bestie. She'll probably be his best man at Shane and Ilya's funeral. Not funeral, wedding. Whoa. Love her. I like how in episode 5, sorry, I just have flashbacks to episode 5. I like how in episode 5 when Ilya was so like overwhelmed with like planning his father's funeral, being surrounded by his family that hates him for some reason, and I'll get to that soon because ew, disgusting, gross, terrible, get me out of mouth, cow. When he was feeling all of those feelings, she reassured him. Like, that's one thing that she's good at. Her and Shane, I'm sure they would be besties too. She's really good at reassuring Ilya that he deserves someone to look out for him, to protect him, who cares about him, and that's who she is. That's what she wants to do. She never expected anything else from him other than just like a true friendship. I would like more of her. I do. I think that she's a baddie, she's a queen, and you know, she can't do any wrong in my eyes. She only got like what, maybe 10 minutes total of screen time throughout the entirety of the show, and I would like more. Let's get into the gays. Let's start off with Kip. Kip is Scott's partner, and we meet Kip in episode 3 when we get a little bit of Scott's story. And can I just say, like, again, I'm in the middle of reading the books right now. I've already read the first 2, so I already know Scott and Kip's story kind of inside and out, okay? I feel like the show kind of did Kip's character a disservice because if I'm being completely real with you, there wasn't much to Kip's character outside of Scott. And I don't really know if that's just because even like Kip in the books just seems like a very YN kind of character. But that's not true, because when I was reading the book, and I am going to be one of those annoying people that are like, but the books, and then yes, I'm one of those annoying people. I feel like in the books I got to know Kip a lot more. Maybe because like obviously when you read a book, it is better than watching the show or movie adaptation of something, because you get inside these characters' heads and know their reasoning behind things and all of this stuff. So maybe that's why I felt this way while watching the show. But there really is no, like, I can't say anything about Kip other than like I like him, I guess. I think that he's really good for Scott, to their own detriment, which is why their relationship went the way it did mid-show. I think that him and Scott just make sense. I think that they're a really good couple, but if I look at him individually outside of Scott, nothing I can really say. Like, I even find the characters that he's friends with more interesting than him. Like Maria, his coworker, Elena, his best friend, his dad, a sweetheart, love him. But I really have nothing to say about Kip. I think that he's a sweetie, and I hope that he ends up happy with Scott in the long run. After a speech like that at the MLH Awards, they're gonna ride off into the sunset. I just know it. It makes me sad because I wish I had more to say about him, but I truly don't. Let's get into his boyfriend though, Scott Hunter. I know a lot of y'all hated the fact that episode 3 existed. Like, a lot of y'all really did not like the fact that we got a filler, quote unquote filler episode. I, for one, ate up episode 3. I did. I had a feeling Scott was, because if you rewatch the show, which I have done now that it's all out, I spent the whole entire day rewatching episodes 1 through 6. You get little hints that he could clock Ilya and Shane's tea from a mile away. And I feel like only someone who's could clock their tea. Not that they were being subtle by any means, but I just feel like the fact that Scott could read them, like when he was talking to Shane at that bar in like episode 2, and he was like, where's your boy Rozanoff? And Shane went into a gay panic. Yeah, that was Scott being subtle. Like, yeah, he could say, no, not your boy. I didn't mean like literally your boy. Yes, you did. You were trying to read the room and you did not realize that Shane is an overthinking autistic man, so he took your shit as like a stab. But because of that, I was really interested in getting into his character because yeah, that man is very much fruity. Also, in the Olympians episode where they were at the Olympics together, the way that he was side-eyeing Shane when like one of his teammates were talking about like him having a gay best friend and how like gay people aren't welcomed in Russia, the way he was looking throughout that episode, I'm telling you, I was just clocking stuff on the second watch and I was like, wait, there are subtle hints here. I didn't start reading the books until like after episode 4. So was not aware. So when I finally rewatched or got to Scott's episode, oh, what a time to be alive. You know, everything going on with Shane and Ilya is so confusing and yearning heavy, and you got a lot of like somewhat miscommunication with a lot of no, I don't feel anything for you, no, I hate you, and a lot of like explicitly. Whereas with Scott and Kip, it just felt like, oh, this is rainbows and sunshine for the most part. It was a nice break to me. That's how episode 3 felt to me, and I liked getting to know Scott's character. This might just be because they had to bottle their story in one episode, but I really feel like we didn't get the most out of Scott or Kip's character because they really needed to push like their love story to the front so much. I feel like we did get more of Scott than Kip for obvious reasons. Like, the show is about hockey players and their trials and tribulations with being gay in the NHL. I do hope that we get more. That might be a hot take. I don't know. Like, I like the fact that we're coming like into the perspective of someone who has literally nothing except for hockey. Like, he has no family because his parents ended up dying when he was young. His only family were like his teammates over the years that he made at like hockey boarding school or whatever. Like, this is all he knows, which is why he feels so protective over like keeping that unit, because it's all he knows. He doesn't want to come out because he doesn't want to like break the family. He doesn't want to break the dynamic that he's grown to love over like his whole life. And so I really do get that for him. But my question here, Scott, is what were you gonna do about Kip? I understand you wanted to come out at your own time. I understand you wanted to be with Kip. However, were you just gonna keep him in the apartment as a pet forever? Like, and this is when Elena, the baddie, Kip's best friend, coming and saved the day, because she really had to bring forefront the question, like, do you not realize that it's not just Kip, but you as well deserve to be openly, happily in love? Do you realize that? Is it not clocking to you that Elena and I are standing on business together? Like, I don't know. And I know he wasn't doing it on purpose. I just think that, you know, being able to get to know why he feels the way that he does, and like the magnitude of coming out as like the captain of a really popular hockey team. It's kind of like the overall theme of the show, if we're being real, but seeing it in Scott's episode really put it into perspective for me, at least. Like Ilya and Shane have said, he's also older than them. So like, I think a lot of hockey players throughout the entire league look up to him as like a figurehead. So him coming out would either do like great damage or make great change, or both. And he just didn't want to risk that. And you know what? I get it. I don't like how he didn't think through his relationship with Kip, because they were together for what, 4 months in episode 3 before, like, I guess they split. I think they split. I don't know. It was very open-ended with episode 3. I don't really know where it left off, especially because with the way the timeline of the show works, Scott didn't come out until like 2017. His and Kip's episode was in like 2014. I don't know if the show writers want to like send me a DM explaining the show timeline, because I'm gonna lie, at some point in the show I did get lost in the sauce of how many years were passing, what month we were at, which quarter or playoff we were doing. I don't know. I love Scott. I love that lover boy. Because at the end of the day, he is a lover boy. You would not wear those ugly blue banana socks every day if you weren't a lover boy. And that's who he is to his core. I just wish that he thought more through all of that before, like, I don't know, committing to Kip. But with that, I have to ask Kip, when Scott is at away games, do you not go home? Like, at all? Like, it was confusing to me, especially when I was reading the books, because I'm like, okay, Scott's not always in New York. He has away games like most of the time. So why are you still in his apartment? Why can't you go hang out with like friends or family? I understood his struggles, Kip's struggles of wanting to tell his family and friends about his relationship, but he couldn't because he wanted to protect Scott. I get that, but you didn't have to stay in his apartment. Is that like crazy for me to say? I don't know. I don't want to seem like I'm trying to put him down, because I do love Kip and I do love Scott, but their relationship, in order for it to work, sadly Scott would have to have like come out like really soon. But before him even coming out, some things in their relationship I feel like could have been handled better if they just like talked about it more. And maybe they did, but we didn't see that because it was just a bottled episode, because it's not about them. It's about Shane and Ilya, and I get it, but what the hecky? And finally, when he won the MLH Cup or whatever that ugly award is, I did cry. I cried, not because he won the award, but because of what happened after. That whole scene of him bringing Kip down to the ice and kissing him in front of the whole arena on national television, and Shane and Ilya looking at the television together. It was so cinematic. It was so beautiful. I was shaking. I was yelling touchdown at a show about hockey. I rewatched that scene at least 10 times in the past week. No, this is not a joke. Because it's the way that he looked around him when he won the award and saw that all of his friends and teammates had people that they could go to celebrate with and openly show love towards, and he had no one except the one person in the arena who had to sit in the stands from a distance and celebrate with him that way. And he was like, no, this isn't right. I want you with me. I want you to celebrate my achievements with me. I want to celebrate your achievements with you. Like Kip getting into grad school. I want to be there for you. I want to, everything about that scene. I could write a dissertation about that scene, actually. I swear I could, but we don't have time. I need to get into the next characters. But yeah, that's Scott Hunter. I love that man. I do. And the actor for Scott. A lot of these actors. Enough said. Next up, we have another woman after my heart. We have Rose Landry. I love this woman. I love this woman with my whole entire heart. She can have it. She can have it. I don't know if you guys watched Tanner's podcast, the Tangent podcast, but in one of the episodes, because he's currently watching the show as well, and he's been releasing podcast episodes back to back about the show, and he compared Rose to a Girl Scout, and I can't help but think of the same. I can't help but look at her like she would be someone who, just like Svetlana, would keep me safe and would comfort me in hard times. Like, I think I could trust her with my life. So when Shane decided to date her, I was like, okay, I can see why he would confuse like romantic feelings for someone like Rose with platonic. Like, I understand why, because she could make anyone probably feel safe when they enter in a room with her. I get it. But Shane, buddy, you're gay. Anyway, I'm not on Shane yet, but this is a Rose stan account. That's all I have to say. Like, when she clocked Shane's tea in that restaurant, but doing it lovingly, like, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, like that type of way, I was like, oh girl. I wish I had a Rose in real life. I'm kidding. I love all of my friends. All of my friends are low-key Roses, but I don't know. I just think the introduction of a character like Rose, specifically for Shane's character, makes so much sense, and I'm happy that she exists. I'm happy that he now has a best friend like Rose who he can go to, especially again like what Ilya has with Svetlana, like someone who he can open up to about what he's been feeling, because at that point he met Rose, I want to say in like 2016, 2015, so he was like dealing with this kind of by himself for years. 4 years, while Ilya had Svetlana, and even then Ilya never really talked openly about Shane with Svetlana, but there were like subtle clues. Shane had no one. So I'm happy that we have Rose here. Don't we all feel safe with Rose here? I know I do. I feel very safe with Rose. For her to be the first person Shane came out to, and that whole restaurant, see, episode 5 will literally like send me into orbit. I can't think about episode 5 without literally losing my mind. So I'm not going to. But yeah, Rose, Queenie, I have nothing to say. I just love friends. I love friendship. Now let's get to the meat and the pie. Ilya, Rose, and off. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Again, strap in, buckle up. I'm about to get into this one real quick. So, captain of Russia's hockey team during his rookie season, I believe. I should have prefaced this. I don't know nothing about hockey. Please, if I'm wrong about anything, shut up. I literally read the books and watched the show twice, and I still don't understand anything about hockey. And that's the way that this is supposed to be. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but also don't. I don't care. During his rookie season, he was the captain of the hockey team, yes, for Russia. His family life in Russia looking very bleak, very dull, very sad. I'm so glad he's out of there. Every time they cut to Moscow, it was a completely different vibe and I felt so unsafe. His family sucks. I'm talking about his dad, I'm talking about his brother, his cousins, hell, even his niece. I'm kidding, his niece is probably fine. But literally, his whole entire family can kick rocks. It's the way that there's no "Hi, how are you?" when he picks up the phone. It's "Where's my money?" I'm sorry. Who's actually making the money here? Because I know that Ilya was like, my father is a police officer, my brother's a police officer, they have like high social standing or whatever the fuck. If that's the case, then where's their money? Where's their money? It was very confusing to me. Every time they would come in complaining about something, and I'm like, how could you complain when your son, your brother, is one of the best NHL players right now? How are you still giving him shit? It's like one of those things where I was like, it got to the point where, I'm not gonna lie, almost every scene when I rewatch the show, I have to skip through the scenes with his dad and his brother, because they would literally be rage baiting me, and I am a victim of rage bait. It's true, it's true. Although his father puts a lot of pressure on him, Ilya does take care of him during the off season. Like the 2014 to 2016 timeline of Shane and him talking back and forth, you get scenes of Ilya during like the off season just in Moscow taking care of his father and making sure that his brother has all of the stuff that he needs to take care of him when Ilya is away playing hockey. And I think that there's so much I could say about that and why Ilya is the way he is with that, but I don't have the time. I don't have the time. Him losing his mom, being the one to find his mom. His father, I'm sure when he died, he's in hell. I'm sure of it. Yeah, that's all I can say about that without literally exploding into tears. You guys don't understand. I'm trying to compose myself. Like, while I want to yap about this show too, there's only so much I can say and think about from the show before I like blubber. It's really embarrassing. So I'm trying to compose myself. But yeah, him finding her when he was like 12 years old. Yeah. Don't we all just want to cry together? You could see with all of this family dynamic, you understand why he's so anxiety ridden whenever Shane feels the need to bring up family, right? Like, I could tell it instantly within like the first episode. Like, he's not trying to be a dick. He just like whenever he thinks about his family, even the utter mention of his family makes this man feel like he needs to like he does not want to talk about it. If he's not in Moscow, don't bring it up. And it really is as simple as that. But I also understand where Shane was coming from, where he just wanted to get to know Ilya. And I think because of every reaction Ilya had to family conversations, Shane picked up on his cues immediately and just knew not the time, because they can read each other so well. Oh my god. So we all are aware that Ilya liked Shane immediately, yes? They can deny having feelings for each other all they want from back in the day. However, there were definitely feelings in the room. The first episode, I think, where they are literally competing for each other on that bicycle wheel, and then them just like sitting across from each other, sharing a water bottle, communicating through eye contact. There was definitely like, there was sexual tension, yes, but you can't tell me that wasn't the first spark of them possibly like being like, oh, I think I like you. There was definitely them denying it for obvious reasons, heated rivalry and all that, but there were feelings in the room for Ilya especially. Like, he literally planned out their first date being to take promo pics without Shane knowing. He literally called up a photographer and his team and was like, hey, I want Shane to take these pictures with me. That was within the first year of them meeting and knowing each other, and you're telling me that Ilya didn't have feelings. Like, Ilya fell first, and dare I say harder. I don't ever need to go back to Moscow ever again. And so because of that, because he's finally distanced himself from his family and from Russia as a whole, do we never have to see Sasha again? Because everything about Sasha made me uncomfortable. I'm telling you, every time we were in Moscow, I just felt really unsafe. And Sasha is one of those people that I'm just like, I hope we never see you again. And I don't think we ever will. I just want to get that out of the way. Like, I understand that he has a history with Sasha and they wanted to show that on screen because I think Sasha was his first coach's son. Ilya is not a real person, because why are you sleeping with your coach's son? Like, why? I don't want to see Sasha ever again. It felt icky. Let's never bring him back. Every text that Ilya sent to Shane before the game, I was with Shane. I was like, is this a distraction so you can beat me, or are you really hot and bothered right now? Like, I can't tell, but at that point, if I were Shane, I wouldn't have cared. Better than me, like, is he though? Because Shane is down horrendous, but we'll get to Shane in a second. When he invited Shane over for the first time to his place and basically begged him to stay, another lover boy, another lover boy, because yeah, let's pretend we don't like each other while I'm literally pleading with you with my eyes to stay with me for the night. Game be damned, practice be damned. You want to stay in my place and I can make you tuna melts and I have your favorite drink by coincidence, a ginger ale in the fridge. Like, we can just be casual about it. I guess. That's literally how he sounded. I can't pull off a Russian accent, so I'm not even gonna try, but like, imagine that with a Russian accent. It's giving bar for bar what he was giving in the episode, correct? He was literally prepping for Shane to stay by buying ginger ale beforehand. I know he was nervous as heck before Shane came over. I'm sure of it. I can't prove it, but release the extended cuts and deleted scenes, Jacob Tierney, if you're watching this, I know you have deleted footage. Release it on DVD, please, and I'll buy it. Thank you. Anyway, when he found out Rose and Shane were together and him calmly losing his shit over it, one of my favorite things ever. This might be toxic. Love to see jealousy. I love to see jealousy in my shows, in like television and movies, but I feel like television with shows just does it so well because you get to see it over time. You get to see the relationship build over time and the bond between characters build over time, so that jealousy feels like a reward. It feels like a reward because as soon as the paparazzi caught them in photos, Ilya was like, no, this ain't gonna work for me. I need to go to the club now. I need to get him out of my head now before I actually explode and cry and throw up. It was that serious for him. He could act like it wasn't. Again, because Ilya loves to act like nothing phases him. But we all know what the drill is. We all know who he is. I know who he is. I know you. And not only that, when he gets to the club to find someone else, he makes out with someone else, some other girl specifically, in front of Shane. And I feel like it being a woman was purposefully done. Granted, do I think he would have made out with a man publicly in a club? No. But I think him making out with a woman in the same club as Shane in front of him really was purposefully done. And I'm gonna get into this later, but I'm like interested to see how they tackle like the differences between coming out as bisexual and gay in later seasons, because there is a difference, and they briefly brought it up in an episode, but I would love to see it more, because you cannot tell me that Ilya finding the closest woman he could and making out with her in front of Shane was not purposeful. Fun times. Are we gonna talk about the All-Star Game episode when they were in Tampa Bay? I think we must, because Ilya was on some fuck shit. He wanted to make sure Rose was not in the picture. He was literally Googling definitions. What does compatible mean? Just so he can be sure as to why Rose was not in the room with us. He wanted to double down on that. He went to google.com and searched the definition. And I'm sure when he found the definition, he was like, let's touch hands in the sand, because that's what we are. We're compatible. I know everyone always talks about the sex scenes in the show, but for me, it's the little touches. Like whenever they touch like feet underneath the table as reassurance, or when they like put their pinkies together in the sand, I was losing my mind over those scenes. Those were the scenes I was like screaming, crying, throwing up at. But yeah, him literally looking up the word compatible sent me over the edge. Him confessing his love to Shane in Russian without Shane knowing what he was saying. No, because I'm like giggling and blushing at the thought of that. Like literally a whole love confession, and Shane was not aware. He was like, I wish I could know Russian. I need to learn Russian. And Ilya was like, nah, you can learn it, sure. Not anytime soon though. He was like, be cautious. Dare I say one of the best love confessions in television? Dare I say it? It might not be all the way up there though, because I feel like for a love confession to really hit, the other person would have to be aware that it is. But it's just the passion behind the phone call, because he was already on the verge of just breaking down, and then having Shane to talk to really helped him. And so he felt so overwhelmed with Shane being there for him that he just had to say that he loved him. Granted, he didn't say it in a way where Shane could understand it, but the fact that he said it at all, I'm gonna lose my mind. He was the one who said it first at the cottage. I feel like we've come a full circle with Ilya in character development. The fact that he's so willing to be open and vulnerable with Shane, that he was the one to say it first. I'm losing my mind. I can't talk about the cottage I can't talk about the cottage. What I will say though, one of the highlights of the episodes for me was when Ilya was calmly eating pasta while Shane was losing his shit in front of his parents. Ilya is not a serious person. One of the funniest characters I've seen in recent years, calmly eating pasta while Shane is like low-key having a mild panic attack. Best boyfriend ever. Let's talk about it. Let's get into Shane. Let's get into Shane Hollander himself. What a guy, Shane Hollander. This is my baby. I love him. But what a guy this is. You can already tell from the first episode that he is very high strung. He's got a lot of pressure on him, whether it be from like his parents, specifically his mother, or like his teammates, or just Canada. Like Canada loves him. Like he has a lot of pressure. And I think in the first episode, what are they, like 18? They're really young. They're in their rookie season. So I can't imagine feeling that pressure from when you're a kid all the way up until like adulthood. And not fun at all, especially as being like one of the few Asian guys who are in like the league. I can't imagine it. You could tell his dad is the quote unquote fun parent though, because you could tell, like, we now know because of like episode 6 that Shane's dad did used to play hockey at like some prestigious school or whatever, but he never made it his life. And so because of that, I think he wants to give that same opportunity to Shane, where like when he talks to his dad, he can get a break from that. Like they never talk about hockey when his dad is on the screen. When his dad is on the screen with him, his dad will pivot any conversation his mom starts up when it comes to hockey. And I love that for him. I'm glad that he has both, because I know a lot of people don't like Shane's mom, but I think that she's just very like career driven when it comes to Shane, and it's not like it's not out of love. I think that she has real love for her son, obviously, but it kind of gets lost in the sauce of trying to make him the best he can be with all of his potential, but sometimes it just doesn't go over well. So I'm glad that he has both parents. All that to say, now while I still do believe Ilya fell first and harder, Shane is down horrendous. He started looking up every Ilya interview, watching every one of his games as soon as they started sleeping together. Now, you could say that the obsession the both of them had for each other started at the same time. You could, and I would believe you. If you read the book, then like you know that Ilya specifically though, he was already watching all of Shane's games like way before they met each other, because he kept on hearing about him through the grapevine of hockey, and he was like, this is my number one op, I need to study him. So Ilya was already watching all of his stuff beforehand, but I just think it's funny that as soon as they had one night together, Shane was like, I need to know who I'm messing with. I need to know who's in between my sheets. So that's just funny to me. Like I said, Shane is like one of the few people that can read Ilya's face like a book when it comes to like him bringing up his family or what goes on with his dad and stuff. Like, I think that that's really beautiful. I don't know. I think the only other person who could do that with Ilya is Svetlana. You could tell. It's just so genuine and so beautiful. You could tell in like moments from all the way back in the first couple of episodes before like even like feelings were even like brought up or thought of. They could read each other really well. Now, Shane, buddy, you panicking as soon as first names are shared in Ilya's house and then going to get a girlfriend immediately, you are also an unserious person. But that's why I love you. Yeah. Look, the whole tuna melt house scene, it's a lot to think about and process. But then when you think about it from the lens of Shane, who's like, oh, we just moaned each other's first names, I think I need to skedaddle. Literally like a few hours later gets his first ever girlfriend with paparazzi photos in hand for Ilya to see like the next day. He didn't know what to do but to just like get a girlfriend because Ilya had him that far deep. Like he had him overthinking that much that he was like, nope, this is not it. I need to get a girlfriend. Meow. And the thing is, he could literally have anyone he wanted, which is why it's always been so funny to me whenever I watch him like panic over like the thought of like someone saying he should get a girlfriend or like possibly having a wife and kids someday, and him being like, no, nothing ever. Dude, you could get anyone you wanted. You just somehow got one of the baddest actresses in like the industry in this world, at least, because everyone talks about Rose Landry like she's the it girl. You got the it girl just from being quirky and going through a gay situationship and having no one to talk about it with. That's how you got Rose. Something about being whimsy and very emotional and honest, and like a little hint of autism, because you can't tell me this man is not autistic. He's somewhere on the spectrum, okay? And the fact that that was actually confirmed canon, thank you, because I've been saying it since like episode 2. But yeah, something about his whimsy has really taken my heart. Shane Hollander, yeah, that's baby. Love him. It's not only that, like, he left Ilya's house after the whole tuna melt situation. He had lunch with his parents and was pissy for like the whole day. Like, that whole entire thing at Ilya's house made his mood so funky because he had a little tiff with his boyfriend. Like, it's so funny that his mom is like, you don't lie, you could never lie, and it's because he can't. I don't know how no one else found out about this, because again, they're not being subtle about it, like saying 1 2 2 1 at hockey rinks, talking to each other across the ice. You could say that's just like a part of the rivalry, but I'm sure there are fans of hockey in the heated rivalry world who are teenage girls that are writing fan fictions about Shane and Ilya because they could already clock their tea. Like, nothing about them has ever been subtle. So the fact that he's like this upset at lunch, going off on his mom, talking about you can sit next to a Swedish princess while you're at the tennis match, and he's like, Mom, why the hell would I sit next to a Swedish princess when my man and I are having beef right now? I do feel like Shane's parents definitely knew he was gay like way before. I know that they said it, but it's times like that, if you rewatch the show, there are like little hints where it gives like they were just trying to scope out how he was feeling towards literally anyone. And when his mom was like, you could sit next to a Swedish princess, and then Shane walked out and his dad was like, a Swedish princess? And she was like, I don't know. She said, I just wanted to see. I think they were just trying to be comforting parents while not getting into his life too much, because at the end of the day, he is an adult and he has to figure stuff out on his own. And so, like, I don't know, if you just look back at the episodes, there are a lot of different Easter eggs in there, or like hints being dropped to foreshadow how the rest of the show would go later on, which I think is really, really well done. Writing, like, good job on the writing. Now, after he comes out to Rose and he goes to Tampa Bay, him openly flirting at the bar with Ilya, he finally is comfortable with who he is. I think that whole entire talk with Rose at the restaurant literally sends me into tears every single time, because like you could tell that in that conversation where she was just like, have you ever had someone where it clicked with, have you ever been with a guy where it just made sense, and he was only picturing Ilya. He knew then and there, like, I need to get my shit together so I can figure out how I can like be open with this man and be with him and be honest with him about how I'm feeling. And he did exactly that in Tampa Bay. I never felt more proud. I've never ever felt more proud of a character. Like, it's the way that when he got concussed, his first thought wasn't, oh, I don't get to play in the playoffs. It was, make sure that my boyfriend isn't like losing his shit. Tell him I'm good. Mind you, he's literally on a stretcher being hospitalized. He's like, make sure he's good, because I know his ass is like screaming, crying, throwing up. Tell him I'm fine. He's more upset about missing his booty call than making it to the playoffs. Real love. Yeah, and then him coming out to his mother. I can't talk about the cottage episode. I'm sorry. I know that we all want to talk about the cottage episode. It literally premiered yesterday. I've watched it twice. I can't talk about that without losing my mind. So yeah, those are all the characters. And now we get to the part of the video where I talk about everything I liked about the show. And when I tell you that all of my likes are like paragraphs long, I don't know how to cut this up and make this shorter, because this video is already getting to like an hour-long point. Wow. Okay, first things first, the subtlety of yearning. I love romance shows, and there are only a few shows that I would take as like actually romance-centered shows. Like, of course you have shows like Bridgerton that exist, but when it comes to this show, the pining and the yearning with subtle touches or a little banter. I haven't felt this way since season 2 of Bridgerton, and you guys know how I feel about season 2 of Bridgerton, but this is like gay. And so it just makes it like, I don't know, 10 times better to me. It's something about like Ilya looking at Shane while he's asleep at his house, or like, again, the subtle touches of the feet under the table, or the hand touching in the sand. Everything I loved, everything about that I loved. The whole tuna melt scene. You could tell that Ilya was opening up about him liking girls so he could make Shane feel comfortable about opening up about his sexuality. But I think Shane took that as like a contest to see who likes girls more, and obviously Ilya won because duh. But I think Ilya was really trying to make Shane feel like more comfortable, and it just backfired sadly with Shane running out of his house. The role that women play in this show as an outlet for the men to be open when it comes to vulnerability and acceptance, I clocked it immediately. Like I said, all of the besties from Rose to Elena to Svetlana, all of the women in the show that are best friends with the men and are able to get them to see the happiness that they could have in front of them if they were just able to be more vulnerable through their masculinity that they like portray to like cameras and audiences and fans of their job. Like they could have it all if they just like let their guard down a little bit and honest with themselves. And you know, it's just crazy. Like without women in this show, would we even have a plot? Would we have a plot? And I'm not even trying to kid. Like, I think that all of the women in this show were necessary to get the men to finally see that the relationships in front of them were where they needed to be, where they found their person, and the women pushed that agenda. Yeah, every woman in the show, immaculate, love them. Let's see, the club scene. Enough said. Like, the cinematography in this show, they were working with $5 in a dream, and I heard that they made this show in like 40 days or something like that, less than 40 days. Ooh, I'm sure Netflix is crying over this little gay hockey show having this much publicity when this season was made with $5 in 35 days. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Because that club scene, cinematic excellence. Like when did we turn into Euphoria? That's complimentary, by the way. I hate that show. But the cinematography of Euphoria is the only thing I like about it. And this show had that, especially during the club scene. Especially during the club scene. Also, the pool scene with Ilya and Shane and those kids. I'm gonna go insane. Shane telling Ilya he can't come over while actively putting clothes on to meet him was the funniest thing ever. Literally texting him being like, we can't, we have practice. We can't, we have a game, while putting on his other shoe, tying the other shoe up, putting his jacket on, cap on. Shane, be so fucking serious. And again, the Russian love confession. The phone call. We just don't write love confessions like that anymore, and I think this needs to be the blueprint for shows moving forward that want to focus on romance, okay? Because dare I say, Ilya and Shane are the blueprint for a lot of romance shows in the future, gay, straight, whatever, but I would say gay. Like, the yearning in this show is magnificent. It's beautiful. Oh my God. Absolutely loved how episode 5 skipped the sex scene so we could focus on the emotional aspect of Shane and Ilya's relationship and not the physical parts of it. Because I know that that's like most of the show. Like I'm telling you, like the first 2 episodes, you couldn't skip for like 5 minutes without a sex scene. It was that serious. But episode 5, it really honed in on how they are emotionally connected and bonded, and I really loved that. And I think they did it again in episode 6, because episode 6 there was like maybe 1 sex scene, maybe 2. I'm only coming up with 1 though. Like they didn't really have much, and I like that. I hope we get that more next season, because that gets into my dislikes, and mind you, my dislikes are just me wanting more of something. It's not me actually disliking anything from the show. It's just me begging the creators and the writers of the show to put more of what I want in here, please. So let's get into the dislikes. I wish they developed Skip's relationship more, Scott and Kip's relationship. Like I said, they had to do what they could in a bottle episode, and I think that they did it somewhat perfectly, especially because Scott and Kip's book, it's kind of like nothing. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people don't like Scott and Kip's book, at least not as much as like Ilya and Shane's book, but I liked Scott and Kip's book. But a majority of their book is just Kip solemnly chilling in Scott's apartment waiting for him to come home. That is the plot. And so I feel like there was more they could do with that from Kip's perspective in the show, because for most of the book we are in Kip's perspective. And like I said, I feel like Kip was very much a YN in the show, where we didn't get much of anything from him. Like, yes, we know that he's into art history because they showed clips of him looking it up on his laptop, and we know that he got into grad school and he applied because that's how he celebrated at the end of the episode. We know little things about him that were shown but not really told, and I wish that they did a little bit of both with his character. Same for Scott. I just feel like there was more they could have done, but also I get it because this show is not about them. It's not about them, I get it. But I'm greedy and I want more. Sorry. This goes with Shane and Ilya. I feel like I want more. Give me more cute moments with them. That's like the one thing I would say that I wish we had more of. Don't get me wrong, I love the steamy scenes. I just feel like I would like more of what we got in episode 6. And maybe we'll get that in season 2. Maybe. But episode 6 was just like a breath of fresh air of just wholesome cuteness and love. And I would like to see more of that going forward. I would. I pine and yearn for love. Also, whatever was going on between Shane, Rose, and her co-star Miles on the dance floor of that club, we never addressed it. Not saying we had to. But I would have liked to know what was going to happen if they continued with that, because I thought we were going to get a scene of those 3, and I would have been confused, but I would have been here for it. But instead we just are going to act like that didn't happen. Like when Rose brought up the fact that Miles liked Shane, I was like, no shit, girl, he was humping your man all on the dance floor. I was like, are we not going to talk about it? I guess we're not, because it seemed like Rose was cool with it. So I was like, okay. Like I mentioned before, I wish they touched more on the difference of Shane's coming out versus Ilya's, because while Shane was coming out to Ilya in his hotel room being like, I'm gay, and Ilya was like kind of laughing about it, and Shane was like, you don't get it, you're not gay. And Ilya was like, no, not completely. And it was like, they touched on it briefly, but there is a clear disconnect there when it comes to them, and I think Shane's somewhat insecurity of Ilya liking women as well. Like obviously he doesn't love women, he doesn't love anyone except for Shane, but there is something there that goes with their relationship and the magnitude of them coming out, because there would be totally different reactions, not just them coming out as a couple, but them coming out with their sexualities. It's totally different, and I want to see if they're gonna talk more about that next season. I don't know what they could possibly do, but I would be interested to see. I don't know, and not that this is like a sociology class or anything, but I do want to touch a little bit on like the sociological factors that play into like the differences between how audiences perceive bisexuality and being gay, especially like in a masculine sport such as hockey. I think it could be interesting, but I don't know what the show would do for that. And also I haven't read The Long Game yet, which is Shane and Ilya's second book, so maybe they touch more on that in the books, which I will get to again, like I said. And not gonna lie, if it's in there, then I'm sure they're gonna put it in the show, because the show was a play-by-play of the book. Like that's an adaptation that stuck to its material, not only stuck to it but made it 10 times better. Like the script ripped from the page, the scenes ripped from the page, and yet they made it 10 times better. They made a few changes, but even then the changes were good. Like for example, Svetlana actually being a character in the show, love that, because Svetlana is a character in the books, but she's not as like important in the books. Like we know that she's someone that Ilya keeps around, but they don't really have a close relationship in the books, whereas in the show you could tell that that change made the biggest difference when it comes to Ilya and his relationships with people and how much he takes up for his relationships. And yeah, I liked that change. I liked it a lot. Oh, I wish that they showed the scene of Scott and Ilya talking before like he went to the MLH awards or whatever, because Ilya did say in episode 6 that he talked to Scott briefly, and that scene is in book 1. Like the scene where Ilya was like, yeah, I talked to Scott before the MLH awards or whatever, that scene is in Scott and Kip's book, and it's a really good scene. Like you could say it's nothing, but the subtle way that Scott is able to clock that Ilya might be coming out later, and then you get into book 2 and understand Ilya's frustrations with that, because the timelines are a bit wonky. I wish that they showed that scene, because I think that Scott, now that he is out and proud and he is able to possibly give advice to other players who might need to have someone to confide in, I wanted them to show that scene with Ilya. I know that Scott and Ilya don't like each other much, but just because of that, that might have been even more of a better reason to do it. It would have been funny, especially because they don't get along on the ice, but Ilya could look to Scott as like a form of reassurance and maybe a friend along the way. I don't know. But yeah, that's everything. I've been yapping for over an hour. I did warn you though. I warned you. I said that this was gonna be me just like talking your ear off about gay hockey players and their situationship for over an hour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've watched the show, let me know your comments down below. If you read the books, let me know your comments about the books down below. Again, I haven't read all of them. I've only read the first 2, so keep it cute in my comments. No spoilers, please and thank you. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite shows of the year, which is saying a lot because there have actually been a lot of good shows that have come out this year, none that I've made videos about, because none of them have gotten like this visceral reaction out of me to get in front of the camera and make a video. But yeah, Heated Rivalry, arguably the show of the year, and I can't wait for seasons to come. I can't wait for seasons on seasons, and from what they're saying, we're gonna have to wait 2 years. We're gonna have to wait 2 years. Oh, I hope that they were joking. I hope that they were joking. I need it now. The fact that I'm going into 2026 without season 2 in my lap, yeah, it's not gonna work for me. Obviously take your time when it comes to the art you make. I'm not trying to rush you, Jacob Tierney. I'm not. But I do need season 2 like now. I need it. I need my fix. But anyway, yeah, that's it. That's my video. If you enjoyed this, thank you. If you'd like to follow me on social media, you can do so in the description, links all down below. Yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, whatever, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.